I would like to check in emotionally first, where we are right now. This is something I always do with myself whenever I'm starting something new. This is something I do every single time with my clients at the beginning of when we get together. How's my hair? Do I look okay? Is anything? Am I okay? Do I have anything in my teeth? No, okay, I'm good. All right. Okay.
Wow.
I brushed my teeth.
So much closer to you already.
Well, I mean, I have my beautiful microphone here. Hello. Welcome.
Oh my gosh, my eyes just started.
Welcome to Conscious Business Connection. This is the shortcut. Okay. I get goofy sometimes, Amanda, if you haven't.
Oh, I never do that.
How are you feeling? Where are you at?
Okay, so I'm feeling like some, I think you would call them butterflies, not from your sexy voice, which is sexy and all, but from like they're not in my tummy, they're like just below my heart, and it's like, you know, I think they're butterflies of momentum. Like this is movement.
Definitely, I definitely resonate with that, like energy that's in my chest and my throat, and then of course it's thank you for recognizing that yes, this is important to me, and yes, I've been doing this for years. I've read the books. I've studied the material. I've implemented this in my own life. I've had tremendous financial success, just like you have as well. I've had social success. We run groups. We do all these amazing things. I just want to acknowledge that I absolutely have those inner feelings too. And I think that we all do. I mean, when I watch Marie Forleo kind of give a behind the scenes, she says the same thing. Like we all have that voice. That voice doesn't go away. It's not when I'm successful, I won't have that voice. I believe it's all a growth process. We're all going to have those shadows pop up, and it's a matter of like, what do we do with that? And that's why you and I have decided just to hit record and go with this. And I think that's cool.
There's never a place you can get successful and the voice doesn't come up. You are successful when you can successfully interact with that voice. And I think you actually feel successful as soon as you can get a grip in a weird situation. You're like, whoa, I just handled that from a responsive place, not a reactive place. And you get it. You get how to move that voice aside. That's success, man. That's it. You're there. You did it.
Yeah. That's an awesome segue. Let's just jump into our introductory module. What you just said about being able to recognize in your body that mind chatter and knowing what to do with it is the process of feeling successful, is definitely part of the process of feeling successful. I would love for both of us to chat about our 3 pillars, to introduce our 3 pillars of the shortcut and of Conscious Business Connection, which are these 3. Call out the old, be the new, do the new.
So call out the old is like coughing up what is sticking. If there's something that you know you're supposed to be doing and you're not doing it, there's something in the way. So you can't just ignore it a lot of times. I mean, sometimes you can just refocus your attention, but most of the time, if it's stuck, you got to get that out on the table. Just say the words, even no matter how ugly and yucky it is.
Like my old, everything has to be perfect or I'm a failure, right?
Yeah.
There's something that we just talked about this morning of it's not a matter of, okay, I'm going to get everything ready and then I'm going to live my life. It's life moves forward. So that's a huge thing for me, is recognizing that it's constantly a growth process. So for me, that's a huge one for me.
Yeah, that's a really good one. So just you're calling out that I don't feel perfect and I don't know if I'm completely ready. And you're just able to say that. And then once you said that, we were able to move.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good. So we moved into the second pillar of, all right, what's the new mindset? How do I want to be now that I've recognized my old patterns?
Right.
Okay. And how I want to be is in congruence with my values, what I'm wanting to bring to my clients. I'm wanting to feel from my body and speak to the person across from me like they're a full person, like I'm worthy, and that this conversation is worthy of our present moment right now. That's how I want to be. What does that mean to you?
One of my old ways of being that I, think is ugly when I say it is the nice girl, and I totally still do that all the time, but sometimes it's fine and sometimes it really stops me. So calling out the nice girl, but then when I discovered that I had that going on, I can't just go, well, you suck, Amanda, because you're doing nice girl. I gotta replace it with something that I actually want to do. So one of my mentors gave me badass leader. So now every time I kind of want to go to be the nice girl, I can shift directions and go, wait. What does badass leader feel like right now? Let's be badass leader just to try it on. Just check into it for a second. Oh my God, that feels so much better. That feels so much more powerful. I mean, the nice girl just pales in comparison to that. So it also makes it easier for me to do something new because it's actually what I want. That's actually more myself than the old way.
Yeah, it's way more fun. It's way more real. It's, thank you, nice girl. I realize why you're there, but I'm going to go ahead and come across as my badass leader. And that's going to affect change in my life. That's going to affect my clients in a more positive way. And saying, thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and put this hat on. I'm going to put on the badass leader hat. Yeah.
Those old patterns aren't as authentic. You've got some gold underneath there that actually is more you than the other patterns that you've just been doing for a longer time.
Cool. So let's move into the third pillar of do the new. So what would be your example of, all right, yes, I've called out that I was the nice girl, which I've been the nice girl in the past before too. I mean, nice guy in the past of, oh, hi, I'm going to let everyone else speak. And I'm going to be really, feeling like it's courteous, feeling like it's sort of honorable to not speak up. I don't want to come across as pompous or overly ambitious or step on anyone's toes. So that's the nice guy version of what you just mentioned. So that's definitely a pattern I feel. And to jump in, that's an excuse I've given myself sometimes when I walk into a room and I don't know anyone there. So it's this justification that, oh, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Really what that was at a particular time was I just don't know how to be the charismatic business owner that I do know how to be now after I've learned what I know now, after we've implemented everything that you and I are going to show throughout the shortcut to everyone that's listening. It was an excuse, right? And I justified it in my mind of why I wasn't getting out there and talking to more people. So let me go ahead and segue into the number 3, do the new. So what can someone do in that instance of, I want to be the badass leader. So what am I going to do about that?
Once you have that new badass leader feeling in you, follow that momentum. It's unique to you. There's no right or wrong way to do. We're going to offer some suggestions, but the first thing to do, I think, would be to check in and be like, what does it feel like a badass leader would do? Hello, that's how everything new gets created is something inside someone wants to come out. All the steps that we're going to show you, that's where they came from. Somebody felt a new way of being and they did something and then they went, whoa, that worked. And they wrote down the steps for other people to follow. And we're going to show you a bunch of those steps that you can follow that totally worked for us. And I think there's an important piece of checking in. What is that for you? I think of it, because I think it literally is, just paving those brain pathways, just,
Oh, yes.
and just getting the words out of my mouth, getting the actions out of my body. Once you actually do something that seems scary, your body's going to be like, oh, I survived. And it's going to put it in the safe list of things that are totally safe for you to do. Walk up and talk to people. Get used to that. Just keep calling out anything that's uncomfortable, in yourself, in a one-on-one relationship, in a group. Just be okay with those, old weird things.
Yeah.
And then be the new, really embody what you actually want to be, who you really are.
And you're going to take the baby step that you're actually going to do. Like if you're frozen and you're not doing the third step of, okay, enacting this, then what's a smaller step that I could take? If you're showing up to the networking event, that's the first step. Some people don't even show up.
So true.
Right? And maybe you have a goal of, I'm going to speak to one person today. I actually took my 13-year-old son to a networking event around social media, website development, because that's what he's interested in. And they had pizza there, which is one way I got him there, right? Like, hey, we're going to go learn about this, and they've got pizza. Yeah. Yeah, they've got pizza, dude. Okay. So when we got there, I said, before we have pizza, we're going to talk with 2 people in this room. And he was just kind of like, okay. And I modeled for him. We went together. I interjected myself into a circle, and there's a bunch of 20-somethings. I'm 38. My son's 13. We're both not 20-somethings. So we got a little bit of weird looks, but we stand in there. We're meant to be there. And I just asked, hey, my son Keaton here is interested in website development, and he wants to know, like, if you were a teenager, where would you go? What would you do? How would you do this? We had a conversation with a woman that said, yeah, I started a company when I was 19, and I made 6 figures in the second year.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. It opened his eyes, and it was amazing.
That's so cool, Jeff. So that's a great story, I think, especially for a beginner in business, or someone, you're not quite confident of what you're going to say yet. And I want to tell a story about, kind of coming from the other perspective of like being comfortable where you're at because you've been saying something for a long time, and now it's time for you to move. Both. Like, you could be too uncomfortable, like Jeff was saying, or you could be too comfortable. Like I was for a long time in my business. I was doing the same old stuff, and I was getting the same old clients, and I was having the same old level of success, and it was fine, but it wasn't really who I really am. And so it came time for me to go back into a little bit of discomfort, start talking about a bigger vision. And I mean, every time I could get it out of my mouth, not just like to my husband, when we're doing our dreaming of the future. I mean, like, when it mattered, I had to get it out of my mouth. One of the things that I've had to do recently is ask people, can I speak on your stage? And do you know other stages where myself and my clients can speak? That was a really hard doing for me. And I have to work on the middle part of being a leader, like a bigger world moving leader, and embodying that all the time, so that when that moment comes, because that moment, I don't always get to choose that moment. That moment comes like on the phone call, or in a networking group where someone's introducing me, and it's like, it's time to ask, and I want it to flow out of my mouth stronger.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been so cool. When I do it, it always seems to work out. It always moves me forward. And I've been able to set up like lunches and coffees with people that I was putting them up like, whoa, they'd never talk to me, Yeah. They don't have time for me. And that is such an old, shitty story that I'm breaking through.
Yeah, nice. So some things that I heard were, this may have served me in the past for some period of time, but now I'm feeling like it's not serving me anymore. So I want to call out that thank you. This has been great. And I'm moving into a new phase in my life. So the way I was acting there before is not serving me any longer. So I want to be in this new way. And then what I also heard was you needed to do the work so that you were prepared for the opportunities when they came.
Yes.
You had no idea of how to guess when that phone call is going to happen, when that email is going to come in, when that leader, that social leader is going to be in the room. If you haven't done your work, you're not ready.
Mm-hmm. Having those simple steps is really what we want to give you guys that are watching this. The simple steps that you can do to bring that being part out into the world.
Fantastic.